mean, you can. Just be aware that people might be watching. We just hit 0. Are we live? Did you just turn us on?
Yeah.
Did we get the lighting adjusted right? We look weird on that screen. How do we look on your screen?
Get dressed.
Which camera are we on, Eddie? Well, it's like crooked and everything. There's like some slacking going on here today.
You guys didn't get it here until like 20 seconds ago.
What's that?
You guys weren't fine there for 20 seconds ago.
You didn't give us a
Ooh.
countdown.
I gave you.
He did. I heard him. He did give us the 4-minute countdown.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, we're live. We're live, aren't we?
Okay, we're bad. Let's go.
Our producer's getting spicy on us. It's nice.
He got his haircut, so now
Yeah.
he thinks he's all that.
I was surprised when he like came home the other day after his haircut. I was like, "Who's driving Eddie's car?"
Yeah, he's looking a little handsome
Yeah,
now. You
I
better
know.
watch out.
That's what I'm hoping for. Some girl comes along, takes him off my hands.
Oh my gosh.
No, I have.
So if there's
Okay.
any young single girls out there looking for a man, we've got our web producer is single and he needs a new home because I want him out of mine.
So,
Anyway,
With love.
with love.
all right, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's talk about
Okay.
your show last week.
Our show last week. What?
Yeah,
What was the show?
because see, you can't even remember the show.
Oh, we
last
had
week
Lynn up.
already.
We had Lynn up
Yeah,
here, and she was
Lynn
like,
is a special
and
guest,
she was like all serious, and I didn't get any of the fun.
I thought you guys did a terrific job. There were things I definitely would do differently, and we'll be talking
Oh,
about
I'm sure
some
there
of that
is.
later.
Free the pin.
But I said, you guys did a really great job, and I think
Oh, thank
anytime
you.
Lynn wants to come on in again, I'd love to have you. Yay,
sure
baby!
she wants
Yay,
to.
baby!
Suck you in.
It's gonna be all about pins.
It is. No.
Oh, because we didn't use enough pins.
No, you didn't
I
use.
don't use pins like
She
you.
doesn't use pins.
Oh, we have an allergy.
Yeah, I know. It was a little scary at times to watch the two of you, I'll be honest with you.
But you got the basic idea, though, right?
I got the basic idea of what not to do
Okay.
during certain things, just saying.
That's fine. That's good. You know. Anyway, so welcome to Shenanigans with Brent and Becky. We have Becky back. She was on vacation last week, so
It wasn't a vacation, it was working.
okay, working. Yes, professional development. That's what she was
That's
doing.
right, that's right, it was professional development.
And we are joined this evening. We do have our Facebook Live up as well. So if you're watching from Facebook, welcome. I would encourage you to go over to the YouTube channel because that's where all the cool graphics and sound effects happen. But you can watch the raw feed on Facebook. Shenanigans Raw on Wednesday night.
Anyway.
Shop news. Big thing right off the top. We're going to be closed on Saturday because it is July 3rd. And for some reason I thought that's close enough to July 4th, so we're just going to close for the day. So if you need...
Sounds good to me.
If you need your fabric for the weekend, come by on Friday because we will not be here Saturday. So that's the big shop news.
Friday, that's 2 days.
That's 2 days. Yeah, because
To
tomorrow's
stock up.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's Thursday. And then it's going to rain, I think, on Fridays with somebody.
Oh.
I was just told that because, you know, me and the gang were discussing having a ride on a Friday evening.
I don't want it to rain.
Neither do I. So that's coming up. So we're closed Saturday. The other thing, just a reminder, we do have, check out our website for classes. They are up on our calendar. Beginner quilting starting on September 1st. Still has a couple seats available. So if you are interested in making Yellow Brick Road, what's that? September
I
1st?
thought it was in August.
Yeah, that one's full. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Okay.
he's giving us a second. Well, I was going to
Well,
ask the
yeah.
same thing. I thought it was in August too. So
The August one
we're
is
running a
full.
second
Yes,
class.
the second class is in. I'm announcing September because August is full, so it wouldn't do me any good to encourage people to sign up for a full class.
Terrific. Yeah, makes sense.
And that also brings us. So also coming up next week is fill in the blank.
Flies. Oy.
And on our originally we had fill in the blank just on Saturday, July 10th. There was some interest for a Thursday class, so we also have on our calendar for July 8th a fill in the blank is happening on Thursday, and that's a great opportunity if you want to learn to embroider. That is a great little class for the money to come in and try out a machine embroidery.
And what's July's project?
July's project is the pillow, which I probably should have. Oh, Lynn's on top of it. We have such a good crew here. It's a little pillow,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
And remind me again how that works.
the class is $10, and with the class you get all the embellishments and.
But you have to come and buy.
Yes. So this is what
Tell
we'll
me
be
what I
making.
have to buy first.
So Eddie.
I have to buy
This is what we'll be making.
This, right?
So yes, the blank is the pillow. So that's going to be
This is a Kimberbell fill in the
blank product.
pillowcase.
Yes.
Okay, the zipper's all in it. And
The zippers
everything?
and everything. And now what you'll get for $10 is we're going to include, like, you've got some little vinyl stuff here
Yeah.
and the little
And
embellishments.
there's actually a lot of embellishments.
Yeah, so the embellishments are included with that $10 in the class.
Even all those buttons?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
At least I hope so. If they call me back, they're supposed to send them to me. I just want to make sure they're coming. But yes, otherwise we'll make it work. We always do. But yes, so what you get for $10 is the embellishments. You just have to purchase the fill in the blank.
And how much is this fill in the blank? This
I
pillow?
don't even know. I haven't
How
even
much
looked
is
it up.
the pillow? Inventory people. Nobody remembers. How much is the pillow blank?
I can't remember it all.
Okay, so I buy this pillow blank.
Yes, and then you
And I
pay.
get this design for free.
Yes,
And if I want to make it with help at 4 Pines,
it's $10.
it's $10. I come down, someone sits with me at a machine,
Yes.
gives me all this embellishment stuff,
Yes.
and makes it with me.
Yes. And we're gonna do it from 10 to 2. You should have this done before you leave that day. So if you don't own an embroidery machine, you wanna just try
Wait,
it out.
You have to start at 10?
Hmm.
Everybody's starting at 10? Do we sign up for this?
Yes, you sign
Oh,
up.
we sign up.
Yes.
$16.95.
Okay, so listen to this. The whole thing
Yes.
is a total of $26.95.
Yes.
For $26.95, you get the pillow form, the pre-made pillow form.
$26.95.
You
All you
get-
pay is shipping and handling.
You get you get all of the embellishments
Yes.
required to make this. You
Not
get
the pillow inside.
you get use of the embroidery machine.
Yes, if you
You
need
get
one.
the instruction.
Yes.
So it's like a 4-hour class for
Yes.
$26.95, and you get.
I like to view
all
it.
of this.
I like to view it more as a workshop that you're gonna come in and we're
Okay,
gonna help
it's
you
a
make
workshop.
it. Yes.
All right, fine. It's a workshop.
I just find that class seems so formal.
yeah,
Workshop
okay,
is more.
workshop
It's
where
more
you
of a
get to
workshop.
make all this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna read the directions to.
But you've made it once before, so your experience is what helps
Right.
guide people from making the same mistakes
Same
you did.
mistakes again. So all right, that's a
Yeah,
good
and like I
deal.
said, if you don't have an embroidery machine, we do have some floor models. So if it's something you want to
This
try
is
out,
almost like a laptop case even.
yes, you could do that.
Yeah.
Instead of putting a pillow form in there, you could put other things.
And the pillow forms you do not sell here.
The pillow form. We're gonna try and get some pillow forms in
We're
here for
gonna
you.
try,
Yes,
but this is
they were
probably
supposed. They were gonna come with that, but like everything else, COVID.
Yeah, I know.
COVID, so
everything's
Kimberbell
backlog.
didn't
well, I
have
haven't
any.
seen one of these before, so that's
Yep.
pretty cool. It's pretty nice.
So that's coming up next
Okay.
Thursday or next Saturday.
Yeah,
Sign up
okay.
now if you're interested. And then we also have. I keep forgetting to call Bonnie. We have Color Theory on August 21st, which is a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have. I keep telling you details next week. For sure. Next week we'll have details. We're also doing a design center class on Saturday, July 31st. And what we're going to cover in that is if you have a Dream Machine, a Stellaire, or a Luminaire, we're going to cover the basics of the design center function in that machine.
Wow.
So we're going to go over like what all the buttons mean, and we're going to take a small file and do some minor digitizing to get your feet wet with the design center portion of your machine to kind of get you comfortable with it. It's going to be $49.95. It's going to run from 10 to 2. Pack a lunch, or we'll call out for lunch like we always do. But if you have a machine, I would encourage you to bring your machine. If you want to use one of our machines, let me know ahead of time so we can plan for it. We do have some Dream machines available, but if you were running a Luminaire or Stellar, I would encourage you to bring that so that as we go through things, the screen you're seeing is the screen you use. So that's coming up on July 31st. And
Nice.
I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, because I'm looking at my outline because I'm organized, and
Yeah,
that really
I
excites
like your
Becky, but you know what's not on this outline?
What? Shop
Is-
news.
We're in shop news, but
I
we're
know.
not. We didn't have new fabric.
We know shop news. This is shop
Yeah,
news.
this is shop news. I'm just saying it's not on here, so we're gonna go to
Oh.
fabric now.
Okay, yeah.
So we had some new fabric come in, and as many of you know, I like weird stuff, and so there was this great panel that Quilting Treasures did, and I like steampunk. I find steampunk interesting. It's usually a fun aesthetic, but this is more of a kid's steampunk, so it has wider appeal. So I'll probably sell more of it than
It's
most
really
of my stuff.
cool.
So this is the panel that goes. This is the main panel that goes with the collection, and then there's another panel which I thought I grabbed, but I didn't. We'll just use this.
Are you sure?
Yeah. And where it's just some blocks, so you get, you can see you've got the shell and the
That's
octopus.
used in this little
That, yes.
patent that we also
And then
have.
here's some more fun stuff on the back. So it's got this
Very
kind
cool.
of this
you
nautical.
You should use this in your design center class.
Oh, we could. We may. So it's a very fun
Right?
nautical.
Right?
We could.
That would be awesome.
A fun nautical inspired steampunk. Very, like I said, very kid friendly. It's not. It's got a nice kind of a nice look. Like I said, got the octopus with the top hat. I love the turtle. It's here's the border print. There's probably not going to be a lot of the border print left after we cut the kits.
This is the patent that's available.
Yeah, this is the pattern.
And you're kidding up. This
Yeah,
patent,
Yes, this is going to be a kit that will be available for
$74.95.
$74.95. I'm glad everybody remembers that.
No backing though.
Well,
No
we never put the backing on.
And
Yes.
it does include in the instructions some paper
So
piecing.
paper piecing,
so
yes.
Maybe we can show you how to paper piece.
And then we got these gears in 3 or 4 different other colors. So, but it's got some nice coordinates with it. But that's the but that just came in, and it's like I said, we're gonna have kits available for $74.95. There's a little bit of paper piecing involved. I was trying to figure out how to get around the paper piecing, and Becky yelled at me. So we're
I
gonna
did
be.
yell at you.
So we're
because
gonna do the paper piecing.
Paper piecing is a lot of fun to do, and maybe we can demonstrate. There's only one square in here that's paper pieced.
Yep. And so it's a little bit of paper piecing. We'll get into that maybe. Yeah, we'll get into that at some point.
Demo it.
But it's a
Easy.
great little
Easy
kit
breezy.
for $74.95. If you got, I mean, it's got a nice appeal. The colors in there are
It's really
fantastic.
cool.
The art's a lot of fun. So that's new. We also got the fabric that we were demoing last week, which we had pictures of, the Down in the Woods. That came in. We should have the sample for that here.
We should have it next week.
Yep, Brenda's almost got the sample done. So that's all the shop news for fabric. We got a couple.
Brenda also showed me here's paper foundation piecing.
Yes, well,
But I've also asked Brent to get the freezer paper.
yes,
So that we can demo both methods.
yes.
And people can have pick their own
Yes.
preference. Brenda is busy still making 3-yard
3-yard quilts, yes.
And the one she whipped up this week, not even this whole week, the
I think
short
it was like Monday or
is
Tuesday
this,
she threw it
am I
together.
on camera? Is this gallery quilt right here. So to show you how fast she can make that happen, not only is it done, but it's bound and quilted and the whole 9 yards. And you could do any 3 yards of fabric, but I really love her color scheme.
Yeah, this is really
You
cool,
know,
little
she
fun
picked up
modern.
a print that she really liked, and then she picked up the nice teal and yellow, and whipped this puppy up.
Yeah, and that's a
It's
3-yard.
really pretty. I like your color choice for your quilting too, Brent.
Well, you know, every now and then I get it right.
Yeah.
So that's all the new and excitingness in the fabric. So come down and pick up some fabric so I can buy more fabric. See, if we sell the fabric, then I can buy more fabric. That's how this
Return
works.
that after. Very
Also,
cool.
continuing with shop news, just a big thing. We did get some the NQ1600E, the fabled embroidery machine that everybody was looking for. That machine has come in. I have 2 of them on the floor
Is that the one I have?
in a box, the little one, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I have them on the floor in a box, and there's no wait list right now. So if you are interested in a NQ1600E, come in. The price is really good on them. If you're interested in embroidery, it's a very good starter machine. And yes, pick it up. It maxes out a 6x10 hoop, which incidentally is the size hoop that Kimberbell does for most of their projects. So it's a really good starter machine. A really good
Unless
place.
you're quilting something.
Well, yeah, but you know, you don't want to spend the $15,000 on a luminaire. Right? I mean, you should right out of the box if you want to. I'm not going to stop you. I'm here to encourage that. But I understand that investment
It's big.
is pretty big. So if you can knock a 0 off that price tag,
Yeah.
it's a much more realistic entry level machine, and that's where you're at with the 1600E. You'll probably outgrow it if you really get into it. You might not outgrow it. You might be able to do your quilt labels in just enough that you're happy. But I do have 2 of those in there. They usually were hard to come by forever. They're finally back in stock. So if you're interested in one of those, stop in sooner than later because they tend to go quick. So there's that. We've got a smattering of other machines also available if you're looking for some sewing machines. But we do have a couple Dream machines used still. Terry, she comes in every day wondering if I sold her machine because she's still debating it. So
Terry, I'm going to tell you, I sold my Dream machine. Wish I hadn't. I have gone out, and I sold it to my sister for a good deal. She would not give it back. I had to go out and buy another one for more money than I sold mine to my sister for. Just saying, I wish I
yes,
could go
the
back
Dream
in
machines
time.
are nice. I do have a couple of them. So if you
They
are
are rock
interested,
solid machines.
yeah, and the couple I have really low mileage, really good machines. So we do have those available. So that's all we have for shop news.
Well, that's
so-
enough. Jeepers.
I know we waste like 15 minutes on shop news.
All right, want to do quiz? And you are not eligible, and Lynn is not eligible.
I'm glad you did a quiz because
You didn't do any of our
because I
outline.
wanted people to miss
Wait.
you.
Lynn should be, because we're
No.
on Facebook.
No, she's not eligible for the quiz
Why?
because she'll know the answer right
Oh,
off the bat.
because that's about last
why.
week.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
mind.
Never mind, it's for Lynn and you.
Yes.
Because
And if
no kidding, you talked about it. I was counting my name. All right, and I lost track, and I thought, oh, I'm giving it to him. During last week's show, if I had been here, I would have bopped you over the head more than once because you even mentioned that you didn't do it, and then you didn't do it again. There
Oh,
is
wow.
a setting on the sewing machine that if you are quilting, if you were doing end-to-end, edge-to-edge, custom quilting, I gotta tell you, I even do it sometimes when I'm doing tight embroidery stitching, okay? There's a setting that needs to be turned off. Absolutely turned off. And what is that setting? Music, please.
Oh, are we ready?
What is that setting?
Eddie, come to this one here.
There is. Don't be showing him what it is.
I was gonna,
It is a setting that I often turn off, but I definitely turn it off. Definitely turn it off when I am quilting.
Do we have anybody there yet?
Anybody?
Bueller.
Okay, play that
Bueller.
sound again. I like it. I'll
Okay.
dance one more time for you. Come on, peeps.
Somebody's got to get it.
They said, oh, Becky's gonna not be happy we didn't turn this off.
You know exactly what I'm saying. You know, don't you?
And then they did it again. And then Brent says, I'll give you some hints. Brent says, oh, it's short because the bobbin thread is short. No, people. It's short because you didn't turn this setting off.
You missed your song again.
Oh my gosh, I'm on a ramp. Come on, peeps. Nobody knows?
see anybody answering.
Nobody.
Okay,
on
let's do
Facebook
it.
either.
Let's do
You
it.
go back
Let's
to-
do
go
a
back to-
close up of this machine. When we are in here, by the way, I want to discuss tension with you someday
Yeah.
because you said something that's not okay
What did I say?
regarding tension. You go, well, let's just match the bottom to the top so you don't have to worry about your tension and everything
Yeah.
looks fine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, no, no. You can, and I will show you how to play with your tension because when you're quilting, you should do a tension test before you do
We have a winner.
juju or, yeah, see now I'm on a rant now.
Oh, Deb.
Yes, Deb!
But
We
thank-
call it end color trim on here and jump stitch trim. I turn them both off.
These
Both
here,
off. Yeah,
which can be found.
You
Here.
shut off the jump stitch trim?
yes I do.
Yeah.
I shut them both off.
Not me.
Well, you would if you were using more than one color in your quilting.
You see, you do remember that the original title.
There
I-
are bi-color, more than one color quilting designs on these machines.
Okay.
You do remember that the original title, the original working title of this whole thing
Yay, Deb!
was called "Sewing Badly with Brent." So when I was left unsupervised,
It was scary. It was so scary. I wanted to go, what do you first you do a tension test, which we will cover at a later time. Secondly, you turn off your
We got
chairs.
we got a month's worth of material just getting you mad at me.
Just for one show from us, Brent.
Yay, Deb, thank you
Oh.
for saving my butt. Okay, so that was my quiz. Let's move on to quilt of the week.
Quilt of the week, yes, quilt of the week is fantastic.
Absolutely.
It's been
Where
sitting
is
on
it?
it's been sitting on the machine, and everybody that sees
Oh.
it loves it.
Oh, isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Are you custom quilting all around those flowers?
No, we're using Deco Bob, so it's really light, so you really can't see the stitching. Looks really nice. It's a Baptist fan, just
It's very pretty. It's
Yeah.
very pretty.
yeah,
I did too.
yeah. Cheryl does a lot of hand embroidery, so all those flowers are
Are
hand
those
embroidered.
hand applique?
I mean hand applique, yes, they're all
And you're
hand.
just stitching over her hand applique?
Yeah.
That's what long arm does.
Oh,
I
no,
had the
that's not what
discussion.
all long arms do.
I know, but
Computerized.
that's the kind of long arming we do here.
Okay, and whose quilt is this, Cheryl's?
Cheryl, yeah.
Cheryl, do you own a luminaire?
Those flowers are huge.
They are, and it's actually, I thought it was a pretty.
It looks really nice.
She hand appliques that.
Oh,
That
it's
is
beautiful
stunning.
work.
That's
Beautiful.
stunning.
Yeah, and she's done a very nice job with it. So,
It's beautiful.
so Cheryl, yes, that's been quilted for free.
Whoa!
Woo!
Oh, that's quilt of the week, Cheryl!
Yay!
Nicely done.
Yes.
It's really stunning.
Yeah, it's a beautiful quilt. And she did a really nice job.
There's a lot of hours in that.
yes.
A lot of hours.
But it came out fantastic.
Yeah. Yep. And what are you quilting with, mono?
Deco Bob.
Just a thin deco.
Yeah, Deco Bob, because Deco Bob is a 80 weight.
What I
Yeah,
that
it was,
says,
so
right,
what
what
you
I'm
use for your
piecing
bobbin
with.
thread. So sometimes we'll use that on the top because it's 80 weight, so it's not
Yeah.
really gonna pop. What you'll get is
Just
kind of
blend in.
yeah, you'll get the impression of the stitching, but you're
Yeah.
not gonna see the thread. So,
So
you
you're
get
using a very neutral color.
yeah, just the 112 is pretty neutral.
Okay.
So it like I said, you get the
Nice.
texture, you get the texture from the quilting,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
not the color. So it comes out really nice.
Nice.
Yeah. It's
Very
gorgeous.
cool.
Yeah, it's coming out really
I
nice.
bet it is. Okay, cool beans.
Why is Jolene crying?
I'm not sure. I was gonna ask you to ask her.
Turbo tip. Turbo
Well, wait.
tip.
Well, we got Jolene on here.
Jolene.
Jolene. Hey, you're coming up next week, right, Jolene? You're,
Crying.
That's probably why.
Oh, I know
She's
why
crying.
she's crying. Because you wouldn't have quilted over that hand applique, would you have, Jolene? You know exactly what the Dexter's talking about.
That's-
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I'm not disagreeing.
For a mere $1,500,
Exactly.
Jolene would custom quilt that.
That's true. You could add a 0 to the end of what I charge, and it would be gorgeous.
Yeah, that's exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
Oh yeah,
get
no,
it.
I do.
I
It's,
get it, but it's a different price range altogether.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But Jolene is a custom quilter,
she's a
long
super,
arm custom quilter,
super duper deluxe,
and
fantastic work.
she's gonna come join us on the show
Yes.
and show off some of her stuff,
Yeah.
and also give us her business card.
Oh, nice.
So she will be available for those $1,000,000 quilts.
Yes.
The heirloom quilts.
Yes, the heirloom specialness.
Oh,
Of course, she probably doesn't want to work that hard, or maybe she
No,
does.
she does. That's what she enjoys.
Yes, so she's gonna join. Jolene's gonna be joining us next week, and she's a lot of fun.
Cool beans. Turbo tip?
Turbo tip.
Now this is a kind of a lame turbo tip, but you know.
Turbo tip.
Turbo tip!
Let's get it again. Let's get the graphic one more time, Eddie. Turbo tip. Oh my gosh.
We should do sound clips of you guys
I
and
know.
just
So-
replay
We
that.
could.
I stumbled across, I have to talk her up because I'm really having fun with her. I stumbled across a website called Quilt Addicts Anonymous.
Yes. I was just gonna say, if you're watching on Facebook, check us out on YouTube because that's where all the fun's happening. Just
Okay.
because Lisa was just
Oh, they
saying
don't
that.
see that stuff?
They don't
that
see the
stuff?
graphics, yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
You get-
So
it's
get
more-
off of Facebook then.
And
Go
we
to
don't also
YouTube.
we also don't see all the comments on Facebook because we're
Okay,
not set
so
up.
yeah, you gotta go to YouTube.
I'm sorry, I
So-
just interrupted. Okay.
Okay, Quilt Addicts Anonymous. The reason I got stumbled upon it, if you will, is the woman Stephanie designs fat quarter friendly quilts. And I'm always like, what do I do with all these fat quarters? And I've looked at fat quarter books, but nothing has really stirred me.
And what's the difference between a fat quarter and a quarter yard?
How it's cut. A fat quarter quarter is what, 18 by 22?
Yes.
And a quarter yard is a skinny long piece.
So it's either short and fat or tall and skinny.
Right. So a fat quarter.
I know you want. Yeah, okay, go ahead, Lynn. Let's.
This is a fat quarter.
I'm sorry.
This is a
I'm
fat.
reading too many things.
This is a fat quarter right here. Okay. Instead of it being
9 inches.
This way.
Yeah, instead of it being
Yeah.
instead of being 9 inches, it's 18.
18 by
22.
Thereabout. So anyway, their store sells nothing but modern. That's a word I can't say. Modern fabrics.
Wooden.
Modern.
Is there an R in there?
I don't know.
I just know that,
can't
you
say
know,
that word.
You come from that part of the state where we lose our R's.
And
So
what
it could
she
be
does-
Mordens or
listen,
Mordens.
Listen, she's really cool so far. Every month she takes a collection of I can't even listen to you because I'm on my, going off of Stephanie. She takes a collection of like, I don't know, 12 to 15 fat quarters. And quarters. And she actually creates a pattern to highlight that collection.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So anyway, I of course had to get involved, and this is just a colorway of one she's done. This is not, it's pineapple-ish, I agree, but it is actually made with nothing but half square triangles. But what she does is she teaches you, and Bonnie will love this, I think, she's teaching us value ways at the same time, which I always have a problem with. So she pre-packages
No
and
value is when you put the red glasses on and say,
that's
"Here's my
where
dark."
light, medium, everybody, you go get a light, get 1 fat quarter light, get 2 fat quarter mediums.
Fat
get
quarter
3
light. Is
Get
that like
1 fat quarter dark.
fat-
I'm like, ooh,
a fat
what
quarter,
the
a
hell are
fat
you
quarter
talking
light? Is
about?
that like Miller Lite? Tastes
Yeah.
great and less feeling?
So anyway, I like her, she pre-packages them, she gives you online instruction, you get your printout. She also is gonna show us how to quilt this using our domestic machine and rulers. So we're gonna learn ruler work too.
Who is that, Becky?
It's called Quilting Addicts Anonymous, and this is Stephanie. She
So
does
like
a
a 12
stashing with Stephanie,
It's
and
like a 12-step program?
I'm telling you,
It will be when we're done.
I'm loving her patterns. I'm loving how because she's so specific. Yeah. Anyway, Becky has to make a zillion half square triangles.
Okay.
Now, there are a ton of ways to make half square triangles, okay? In fact, she shows you a way that's not my way, and somebody else is going to show you a way with paper and blah, blah, blah. But I'm out of fashion with my half square triangles, and that's what developed the turbo tip, because I have used this little bugger a lot this last couple
Is that one of
days.
those magic wand thingies?
It is. Now the beauty of this, can we see this, or should I go down? Which way do you
go
want
down
me?
because then you have the
There's
background.
this is a 1/2 inch ruler with 1 measurement on it. Can you see that? Let me do
Put it on your apron.
On your bosoms. Put it on your bosoms.
What are you
Put it on the
doing?
girl.
Lady.
There.
Why don't
Quilter's-
we go to the overhead and like look at it?
Quilter's
down on the-
magic wand. See, there's only 1 line on this whole thing, and it's etched in it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you actually do need to go overhead because I'm going to show you how to use this. And to me, this is like not only how I use it, but how I use it with my Luminaire.
And I just screwed your luminaire up because you had it set up, and when I went over the. But I should be able to just
Okay,
turn that back there.
down, good. First thing I got to do is take this little Quilter's magic wand, and I'm putting the etched line on each side. I need glasses, excuse me. I'm lining up my etched line corner to corner, like that. See that? And then I'm taking a little pencil. I use pencil. The reason I don't use friction is because I'm going to iron this later and that disappears. So I take it and I mark it this side.
And we've also found that friction will
And I mark it
stain
this side.
some fabrics.
So I go through, I didn't mark that one very good, but I go through and I mark them so you have something like this, right? You see that?
I see that.
Those are what you would call your sew lines. You're not putting on a 1/4 inch foot. You're not trying to sew a 1/4 inch from the middle seam or blah, blah, blah. You're just drawing those. Now what I do next, of course, right sides together, is when I go to my sewing machine, I like to set up my guide to run right along this pencil line. but then I move my needle over 2 or 3. That gives me more wiggle room when I go to trim it.
That's what she said.
That's enough right there. That's enough. Can you get
Yes, go-
this camera on so they can see
Yes,
what's going on
so
the screen,
one of-
please?
So we're talking about using the laser here.
Right, so let's go in there for a minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn that off for a second. Okay, close
Okay.
that. Oh, I thought I was gonna turn
No,
it off.
you have to be in there for me to show it.
Oh, in
Go
here.
into laser.
Okay, I'll stay out of your way.
No, you can do this.
Okay.
So on this machine, there is actually two different lasers. You can tell it what color it is.
Yes.
And
Yeah, just a quick side note, on the Dreamweaver, the Dream Machine, and the Stellaire, you will have a laser. It has one laser. It doesn't have multiples
okay,
like you have
we're
on
only
Luminaire.
using one right now.
Yeah, so everything that we're go-
later, however, you'll see when I use 2.
everything we're gonna cover right now is doable on any of the Dreamweaver, Dream Machine, or Stellaire machines.
Yeah, and you'll notice down here, I've shifted it to 2.75, when before it probably said what? 3.0?
3.5 is the center.
3.5
Yep.
is the center. The reason I don't want to go right on the center and I want to smoosh it over a little bit is because I'm going to have to fold and press and all that good stuff.
And another quick note on the shift down here, which you'll also get on the machines we talked about. Shift moves in 1/4 millimeter increments. Width moves in 1/2 millimeter increments. So you'll get a much more precise shift of your needle with the shift function rather than the width function.
Can they see that red line on this machine?
I don't know. Is it? I can.
I don't.
Can you see it, Eddie?
Let me move it over. See, can you see that red line? Not really. There is a red line that my machine is showing on my fabric.
Yeah, there you go. You can kind of see
Can you
it.
see it?
Yeah, it's there.
Faintly. It's right here. What I'm going to do is take that red line and I'm going to line it right up on my
Oh,
pencil.
here, are we done on the screen here? Because if we're done on the screen, I can just move this camera over.
Okay.
And it's,
That's a bad idea?
Yeah.
That's a bad idea, okay.
So what's going to happen is I'm not watching a mark on my foot. I haven't changed to a 1/4 inch foot because, by the way, my 1/4 inch foot has a little jog on it,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't work well for this technique anyway. So I want
Yeah, the 1/4 inch because of the guide will.
the
will
guide.
hit
It makes
the-
it
yeah.
makes the mess. So I want to use. I think this might be my J
J
foot,
foot, yeah.
and I like the open
And you
look.
can see on the screen, you can see how that red
See
line,
see
that
the
red
red
line
line?
is lined right up with her pencil
Right,
line.
I mean right up. And as I'm stitching, I'm not looking, staring in here. I'm just watching the red line. So as I move down, I'm just and look how straight it's going to be because I'm looking way over here at that red line. And I'm
And your
going.
nails look fantastic
God,
tonight,
yeah,
Becky.
I put them on just before the show. I'm going all the way down. I'll cut that just for time's sake. So now I've got. Look at how beautiful that is.
That is gorgeous.
Yeah, I know. So obviously, if you're chain piecing, you just keep going and going and
So we're
going. But
just
it's
go- yeah.
literally right where I want it to be.
Yep.
If I hadn't moved my needle over just a smidgen, it would be so exact on that line that I would have even less to work when I trim it. So by just smooshing it over just a tad, it's perfect. Now, after that's done, you're going to end up with a piece like this. Can I have the overhead one more time? You're going to end up a piece like this where it's sewn on both sides. Now all I have to do is cut down the middle.
Now, with this technique, because they're all,
See, I can use this to
If
cut
you-
down the middle, but I do not because I have a hard time with the slipping and sliding.
could you like stack like 3 or
Yeah.
4 of those together, just chop them once?
Yeah, you could. Because what's important is how straight these lines are.
This,
Not how corner to corner I am. And I'll
Yes.
show you why in a minute. I'll cut this and I'll show you. What's important is how straight I sewed it. If I did not sew it straight, I am not going to have good half square triangles. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's really important that
So-
that line be straight.
The sew line.
The sew line.
The cut line.
The cut line don't matter, Jack.
As long as you don't cut the sew line.
As long as you don't cut the sew line and try and keep a 1/4 inch just because.
Because it makes you
You
feel
know.
better about life.
Well, just because you don't want it falling, your quilt to fall apart.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So now when I cut this, what I'm doing, of course, come on, I have samples. Okay, so I wouldn't have to go. When I cut it, I'm then going to open these up, and I am going to open my seams. I'm going to iron my seams open because I want these to lay as flat as they possibly can. if I have a bump when I go to trim it, I have a trim ruler somewhere to demonstrate. No, I do. Here I am thinking I'm so organized. Did I forget my trim ruler?
I was just admiring
Is
the
it in
nice
front
paint
of
that.
you?
Huh?
Which one?
It's a little square. I have tape on it and everything to demo it, and I don't know what to do with it. Okay, so what happens is, I'll just show you with this. If I haven't opened these seams
Mm-hmm.
and I go to square this up with my little square ruler, which I really wish I had, what's going to happen is I'm going to have some wobble. I'm going to have some wobble in the middle.
It weebles wobbles,
It
but it won't
does,
fall down.
and then it's so hard to get your seams perfect. But if I've opened this up and made sure these are flat, I iron from both sides, by the way, to get them nice and flat. Then when I put my ruler on to square this up, oh, I'm so mad I don't have it. I want it to appear. Well, that'll be another thing. Then I square it up, and then when you're done, be-do-be-do-be-do-be-do, they look like this, and they're perfect. In this case, 3.5 inches.
Nice.
But what I wanted to tell people too is when they square it up, I saw somebody doing this, and that's why I wanted my ruler. Can you just give me a small square ruler? I really want to show this because I saw a person doing it wrong, and I thought your whole quilt, after all that work, your whole quilt is going to be wonky. So
And
this,
the rulers were right behind Brenda on the wall there.
this is so this is the Quilter's Magic Quilter, magic wand. Comes in handy in a lot of other
And
places too.
Bonnie, who is here on the third Saturday of the month, usually has those with her.
She does?
Yeah, I don't stock them because Bonnie always has
Oh,
them
it
when we need
is
them.
Studio 180. I didn't
Yes.
realize it. Well, and get the long ones, not
Yeah.
the little short ones. These are wonderful. Perfect. Oh, it's not open. Oh no, this one's open. I'm good. So I want to show you what I saw somebody doing, and I thought I want to show this on TV because it was scary to me. They thought my next instruction is to trim this to 3.5, right? So they're finding the 3.5 on their ruler. Oh no, there's no 45 on here.
There
Do you
should
need me after all?
I need a 45.
check the ones right there behind Brenda. Is there one with a 45 mark on it?
What they were doing, I'll try and describe
You
it.
can use that 24 by that giant one right there behind you.
No, I don't want to use a giant one because I have to show you something.
Oh, okay.
What they were doing, you got me, Eddie? I
Wait, here
told
we
them
go.
they were going to trim it 3.5 by 3.5. Oh, this is perfect. See how this has a 45 on it? That's what you want. Don't buy a ruler that doesn't have at least a 45 on it. And this one's very well loved, so we're going to
Yes,
go
it
this
is.
way. They were lining up. They were doing this. They were lining up the 3.5 and the 3.5 as best they could like this. That's not 3.5. That's good. I can't. I have to turn it around. Sorry. They were lining up the 3.5 on the edges like this, and then cutting. And there, I'm at 3.5 and I'm done.
No.
Exactly. I'm like, well, you might get lucky. You might get lucky now and then, but it isn't going to hold. I guarantee you it's not going to hold. The first time, your first cut, you want to make sure the most important thing is that this line is straight on your sew line. And if you have a crooked sew line, do it again. It's not going to hold true.
I would also
The
recommend.
other thing,
I was just gonna say, make sure that you leave enough
I'm
3.5 down
getting
here.
there. I'm getting there, Sam. I'm getting there.
I just wanted to show my wisdom because
The other
I do
thing-
understand some of these things to get
The
proper
other
blocks.
thing is, I want to make sure on my first cut that my fabric extends beyond my 3.5. I want it to have something to
Your
cut
hands in the
off.
way.
Oops, sorry. I want it to have something to cut off, but see how I've left?
A little
Little?
bit.
But I can't stress enough this line right here. So on my first cut, I'm looking at this line, and I'm making sure I have extra hanging over on both edges. If I do not, you're not going to trim up a good half square.
Well, you'll get a 3.5 inch block.
But it's not.
but
gonna,
the
you
points-
saw how many
I
triangles
know. I was just gonna say,
were
but the
mine.
points will be all
Well,
over the map.
try getting it to come out right after that. So then I'm hacking off that, and I love these boards because I can just clean them. Next time, now is when I get my line right on it. Don't forget, get that line right on it. And now I'm going to line up with 3.5. 3.5.
Trace. Tracy Media, for those that are
See?
watching in Spanish.
See that, guys? Thought that was gas at first. That sounded like a mouse with a tuba. Okay, so that's it. That's how you trim all your half square triangles. And this is my tip,
The magic wand?
the magic
Yes.
wand. It really is a handy tool for lots of things, but
Yes.
definitely for half square triangles. Okay, so there, that was that.
Is that turbo tips?
That was turbo
Turbo
tips.
tips, okay.
Turbo tips. There's lots of ways to make half square triangles, but that's one of
Are
my
we even gonna
favorites.
get to your?
Well, I don't know. You took so long. You want to do bobbins?
We'll do bobbins, yeah.
All right, go ahead and do
We'll
bobbins.
do
while
bobbins.
I
We'll
clean
figure it
up.
out. Okay.
Clean up. I'll clean up.
All right.
bobbins.
So what we're gonna talk about next is at the workbench. Oh look. Oh, nice. I love Eddie's graphics. He does a fantastic job with that. We're gonna talk about workbench. So one of the things we're talking about is bobbins. Lots of bobbins. You have that graphic I got up. This is just a quick little graphic. You can actually find this on Superior Threads. They do a really nice job of education and stuff. And that just kind of goes over the main types of bobbins. I just wanted to touch on a few things real quick. The most standard bobbin that you're going to have is probably going to be your class 15, which Eddie's putting up so nice for us right there, or also known as the A-style bobbin. One thing I want to talk about today is the class 15 and the L bobbin, which is next to it, if Eddie moves that over for us. L style are the same diameter. If you look at that little graphic there, you'll notice that they're both 0.8 inches in diameter, or 2.03 centimeters, which means that a class L will fit, or an L style will fit in a class 15 machine.
I'm already lost.
Okay, come over here, Eddie, to this. Over to this camera. So we've got here,
I might be the only one who's lost.
this is a class 15 bobbin.
What does this guy normally
That
use?
takes a class 15.
Okay.
So that's a class 15. This one here is a class L. Do you see a difference?
On the screen now.
One's-
No, you're
one's-
not going to see a difference.
One's shiny.
The only difference is if you look at the sides, notice that the L almost kind of fits inside the 15.
Oh, not the same height.
They're
Well,
not
that
the
was
same.
trick. You showed us this way.
That's what I'm wanted to show you, because they both are the same size this way. Guess what? They'll both fit in your machine.
Oh.
If you run a machine that runs class 15, then a class L fits in there with no problem. What happens if you run a 15 and an L machine is the bobbin will stick out a little bit and you won't be able to get your bobbin case back in. So you'll know that you've got the wrong bobbin. Now, what I often run into is people will buy L's because L's are very common, and L's work fine for sewing. If you're sewing with an L and a 15, generally you're not going to have a huge problem. What does happen though, because of the shorter bobbin, it sits in your bobbin case usually, and at high speeds, it starts to wobble.
What am I supposed to use in this?
15. So, and at high speeds, it'll start to wobble. So if you are using an L and you are embroidering, you're going to run into trouble.
I'm gonna find
So there's a lot of people that have been using pre-wounds forever,
me.
and if you were using pre-wounds that were L's, then you didn't have any problems until you started embroidering, and then your machine's broken because you're embroidering with L bobbins. And that's where this comes
Which is
in.
this? Which bobbin is that?
That's a 15.
Oh, I lucked out then. Huh?
Yes. And then most machines will come with this little adapter piece. And if you'll notice, if I put this little adapter, new Brother machines come with that, put that little adapter under my L, look what happens. It's now the same size as my 15.
Well, if this uses 15s, why did it come with an adapter? Oh, in case I
In
buy
case,
L's.
because a lot of
Got it now.
a lot of pre-wounds.
Now it makes sense
Yeah.
now, Brent.
A lot of pre-wounds are L's because L is a more universal. They've been around longer. Like for example,
Okay, all right.
L's are
That makes
usually
sense.
used in the multi-needle machines, like the PRX, the 10 needle,
Oh,
and
yeah. I've been using the same bobbins in both machines.
yeah. So those are L's.
Wow.
The pre-wounds for the multi-needles are L's.
So I should be using a spacer.
You should use a spacer in your luminaire, yes.
Ooh.
So I just want to touch on that. And there's another bobbin which I
Yeah.
don't have an example of here today, which is called a Class 66. It's an old Singer bobbin, and it basically has a little rounded top to the shell. So if you're looking at it, you can look at it from the side. You see that it has a very pronounced convex. Convex is when it rounds out, right?
Right, because
Yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of looks like a cave.
Yeah,
That's how I remember.
that's how I remember it too.
Concave.
It has a very convex top, and what'll happen with those is you can fit them in your machine. They're about the same size as an L. You'll fit in the machine, you'll sew for a little bit, and then your machine will jam up. And if you had an old Singer machine and you have those bobbins kicking around your sewing room, it'll cause problems. I've had a few machines come in and they're like, oh, it doesn't sew right. My machine's broken. And we get it on the bench, take it apart, and it's got a Class 66 in it. And I'm like, yeah, that's our problem. But, so if you have a Class 66, just throw it out if you don't have the machine. But L's you can still use with your machine if you have the spacer. The only other thing, there's a lot of stuff I was going to talk about.
If I use the spacer now, though, because I have
because it is a 15,
then
that's going to sit up too high and you're going to jam your machine up.
God, I wish they should mark the bobbins then.
Well, once you see them, it's pretty easy to tell.
Well, not if I don't have both colors.
This is true. The other thing I wanted to touch on, there's a bunch of stuff I was going to get into, but the other thing I was going to get into is metal versus plastic.
Go for it.
Because, metal's always better. That's what we like to tell ourselves. Honestly, usually not. What happens, what you'll have with bobbins, there's also different types of metal. We could spend hours talking about bobbins. But metal versus plastic, the big issue on there is weight. There's a difference in weight between a metal and a plastic bobbin. If you have an older machine that is used to running metal bobbins, the tension may be different if you switch to plastic bobbins, or if you go from a plastic bobbin to a metal bobbin, that may change your tension or your stitch quality. Because of the extra weight of the bobbin, they have what they call backlash, where it over rotates. And so your machine compensates for that, and it can cause some different issues that may show up.
They sell those little glider things.
Yep.
Is that because it's for metal bobbins, the gliders? They're supposed to make them spin freer.
Yeah, but you don't want them spinning freer. That's the thing. You want a little bit of tension to keep it from spinning, because if it spins too free, what happens is it over rotates and then your thread gets tangled. This happens a lot on long arms.
That's where I saw that.
Backlash is a big issue on long arms. And for example, a lot of long arms, my Gamble had steel Class M's. M's are the giant ones. And then when we switched over to the Innova machines, they had aluminum. I tried running the steel because I had a ton of them for my Gamble. Did it once and I threw them all. Got rid of them all because the weight.
Finicky.
Yeah, the weight of the bobbin, the inertia really affects how the machine runs.
Wow.
So plastic versus metal can affect your stitch quality. So if you're running into issues and you're running metal bobbins, try switching to plastic. The other thing that nobody talks about, and this is the other thing that kind of inspired this tonight, was do not reuse pre-wound bobbins.
Why?
Because they weren't designed for that.
But what happens if I
I'm going to get into that. You could probably get.
I heal all the time.
You could probably reuse a pre-wound bobbin 2 or 3 times without running into big problems. One of the things that happens is every time you wind a bobbin, you run the risk of spreading the bobbin out because you're packing thread in there as it winds, and so that thread over time can actually spread your bobbin, make it wider or lower. And again, this is something way more pronounced on long arms. If I have an old bobbin, I can put these next to each other. You can see an old bobbin has spread.
Okay.
And that's what makes a plastic bobbin so nice. Instead of spreading, it just breaks.
Oh.
Where a metal bobbin.
So I can just use it till it breaks.
A metal bobbin slowly spreads over time. Yes, but the problem with the other issue with the pre-wound is a lot of them won't fit on your bobbin winder properly. They're also made of a much thinner plastic. So what may happen is it's going to spread around the edges and not in the center, so it's not going to break because you've got the flex in the plastic, so it's not going to run right. Like I said, you could run, I've seen people reuse pre-wound bobbins
I do all the time.
But like Brenda said, you paid $15,000 for your machine, you can't spend a buck on a bobbin.
But I have a whole case of them.
Yeah, and like I said, you could get away with a couple times, but they will eventually fail because they're not made, the plastic is a much thinner plastic. You also run the risk of getting more nicks and stuff along the edges because it's thinner.
Yeah.
If you inspect it every time, take a look at it, and take a little emery cloth and smooth everything out, you could probably get a lot of life out of it pre-wound. But how much work do you really want to put into it?
I don't,
But why do you buy pre-wounds in the first place if you're gonna rewind your bobbin?
Because when they're empty and I need a color on it, if I need a colored bobbin, I don't rewind my pre-wounds with white. I save them and use them for color.
Now, do you do a
Right.
full bobbin of color or just like a little bit for whatever you're working on?
I've done both, actually.
Okay.
I do both.
Because if you're just doing like a half a bobbin, you're probably not going to get into much trouble. If you do a full bobbin, you're probably going to run into more issues. Because like I said, it's just if you look at a pre-wound compared to a bobbin that's made to rewind,
Yeah.
a pre-wound is a much thinner plastic.
Like we use it in class too. Those bobbins I use, you know, with the, we put up here with the colors?
Yeah, though that's a different concept.
Okay, so
Be-
it's down there?
Yeah, it's in your, because it's,
Sometimes
because,
I'd use them down there too.
yeah. Yeah, if you're gonna rewind them and use them to run off your spool, you'll be fine, because that tolerance of the width doesn't matter.
Okay,
If you're gonna put it into your bobbin case, that measurement is important. And
Okay.
if you start to spread a little bit, you'll get some
so
thread issues.
don't mind it as full.
Yes, if you do a half,
Don't mind it
yeah,
full, half a bobbin.
half
Okay.
bobbin. But like I said, and you might be able to do it and get away with it. But I do know that I have seen where people will rewind them all the time, and eventually they fail and they cause issues.
Yeah, I usually lose them after a second time around
Yeah, they're-
anyway, so.
But
It's
that's-
not like they get used again,
Yeah,
again,
but
again,
I would-
again,
I would-
again.
But I would recommend, if you have a modern machine, stick to the plastic. I know some people think, well, it's got to be metal because I've always had metal. Metal bobbins, like I said, can spread, and because of the way metal is, it's going to spread. You're not going to see it, and also the weight issue.
Mhm.
There's a ton more stuff I was going to get into, but I think that's probably enough
Well,
for tonight.
I don't think you left me enough
That
time.
was easy.
I don't think I have enough time to do what I was gonna do though,
Okay.
so do you wanna cover bobbins?
Cover more bobbins.
Well,
We
I
can get a
don't-
bobbin.
Here's what I was gonna
Well,
talk about.
well, I have this fun little.
Okay, well,
do
go
that.
for
Oh,
it,
keep
go
going.
for it.
Rewind, pre-wound bobbins.
So,
What's that?
Lisa has a question. So you say don't rewind your pre-wound
That is
bobbin.
correct.
Correct.
I do not
Throw
recommend
them
it.
Away.
I do not recommend it because it is you may run into trouble. Some people have had success with it. I'm not saying you can't do it. I don't recommend it because one of the problems is you have an issue with your machine. And the first thing I'm going to tell you when you call, it's kind of like when you call the IT guy, the first thing he says is turn your computer off and turn it back on,
Mm-hmm.
right? First thing I'm going to tell you to do when you call me is rethread your machine and rethread your bobbin. And then I'm going to tell you to change your bobbin.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got 6 rewound, pre-wound bobbins, they may all be having the same problem. And so troubleshooting it by changing the bobbin may not fix it if it is
Okay.
an issue.
I don't even know how I'm gonna tell which ones are which anymore, so.
Well, it's pretty easy. Once you see a regular one, it's much thicker. And just
Okay. Okay.
you'll see that the top and bottom are
Okay.
going to be a much thicker plastic that
All
are
right.
pre-wound.
Okay, that's what
Um,
I'll look for then.
and then I was just going to get into, if you look at this bad boy here, that is the original bobbin.
That's a bobbin?
That is the original bobbin. This came off of an 1889.
Looks like a spool of thread.
It's an 1889 Howe machine is what this came out of.
Wow.
And so what's interesting is the way these work. They work more like a shuttle. They were like a shuttle that went back and forth. So if you look at the old machines, they're shuttle. So if you ever see the old machines, it says White's rotary. Very early machines around probably the early 1900s or so, early 1900s.
Yeah.
A lot of Singer rotary, White's rotary. See all these turtle machines that say rotary on them.
Oh,
Rotary means they went from these little shuttlecock bobbins, the little shuttles, to
Mhm.
actual round bobbins.
Mm.
It's a reference to how the hook goes around instead of back and forth.
oh,
And that's why this is the original bobbin, because this actually went back and forth and shot between the bobbin hook.
Yeah.
Whereas rotary machines, when those came out, they went around the bobbin. So that was the big difference. I don't know why I wanted to share that all with you. So
I don't know.
that's a-
why
that's a
either.
historical-
Okay, okay.
and
We're
what's,
all very excited
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah. But if you look at the kind of history of bobbins, they kind of standardized for a little bit.
Mhm.
But
It's the
like,
bobbinator.
I'm just saying,
The
we're gonna kill
bobbinator.
time.
Yeah.
Blah,
Blah.
Anyway,
Okay, well,
so I'll end it there because I can see that people's eyes are glazing over and
yeah.
say, why do
and
I
I don't
care?
have time to do my next project justice. Plus the birds are putting me to sleep. But I want to show you what it was, but I don't want to do it because I'm telling you, maybe y'all have seen this before. I had not.
Well, I'm sure I haven't because you told me it involved like bias cutting, and I know for
Yes.
sure I wouldn't do
Hey,
that on
first-
purpose.
Well, I love bias. First, I'm going to tell you, I love bias binding over straight edge binding any day. It is just easier to work with. It's easier to bite at the corners. It's easier to fold over. It's just easier. But who says, for goodness sakes, that all quilts have to have square corners? Like, why do I have to do a mitered corner?
So you're saying
Why don't I curve the edges of my quilt and use bias binding and not make mitered corners?
Because that's way harder.
wow.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. And really, why? Because somebody decided that making straight binding was easier,
Yeah.
than bias binding, and therefore
Because
we have
we
to
didn't
learn
have-
how to make muddy corners.
Because we didn't have you to show us anything
If you
different.
are making a bag, if you are making a pot holder, if you are making anything with a curve, you have to make bias
Tree
binding.
skirts.
And if you found an easy way to make it, you would be like, oh, okay, Becky. Yeah, straight binding.
Oh my God, Becky. Look at her
my-
body.
I want to
It's
show
one of those
you.
rap guy girlfriends.
This came from one fat
Don't say
quarter.
more than 30 seconds.
Hey,
Well, I didn't sing it,
this
so I'm all right.
this bias binding. Stand up, my friend. Spread yourself
Oh, you want
over
me
there.
to see me mom my dad bod?
All of this came from one fat quarter, and it's bias binding.
That's just.
And it's
I
2.5
really-
inches for those of you who wanted 2.5, even though Becky would prefer 2.25.
I
I'm like,
really
okay,
want.
guys,
I really want to see this done because it just.
Uh-huh.
It has pain in the butt written all over
No,
it.
and I'm only
I
going to
know.
sew 2 seams.
I.
2 seams, people. It's
This
like
is,
magic.
This is like the.
I am going to show you how to take
This
this
is like the
piece of
cliffhanger at the end
fabric,
of the episode. It's like tune
this
in
piece
next
of
week,
fabric,
man.
and make all of this beautiful bias
I'm
binding.
excited about this now.
And if it's this easy to make, wouldn't you prefer to use bias binding? I'm telling you, everything's
that.
easier.
I'm not this.
Everything.
Okay.
Everything, and
You've got me
I
sold.
am now thinking I'm not making any mitered quilts.
Everything's gonna be biased in corners.
Well, I like bias anyway, and it just dawned on me when we were away. I'm like, why don't we make square mitered
Yeah,
corners?
you just drop your mug on the corner and cut the radius.
But
and
anyway, that's
you
what I
go.
wanted to show you, making my lovely
I'm very
bias
excited. That's like
binding.
I said, that's like the cliffhanger when you're
It
watching a
is,
series.
it is,
Like,
and I don't know if y'all know how to do it, but I did it, and it's really wonderful, so don't give it away.
Lisa's always wanted to see this. You're
Oh,
gonna have to.
yay!
You're gonna have to. Wait, are we gonna do this next? We're gonna do this with Jolene.
I'm going to do it, because she will appreciate
Yeah.
this.
So
This is like
yeah. So this
cool.
will happen next week. It's gonna
But
be very exciting.
I have to let you
I'm very
know,
excited.
I will be using pins.
Bring the pin!
Not a lot, though, not a lot. Or glue, but
Oh, God.
I cannot believe. I cannot support the oppression of the pins in this society. I believe in.
Anyway,
Anyway,
it's so cool.
I'm very excited about this.
And it's beautiful binding. It's
Yes,
beautiful.
it is.
And it's ready to go. Notice I didn't iron it, Brenda.
I noticed.
I resisted ironing it and everything.
Ooh.
I don't iron mine.
I know, I had you in the back of
Well,
my
let me
head
think.
going, don't iron it. And you know
That
what?
might. Okay, I might be
And
able to
if
do the
it's-
pins
and
if we
if
don't have to
it's-
iron.
If it's bias, it folds so easily. It just does.
It just folds like butter.
And mitered corners are easier on the. You've got to try it.
I'm gonna have
You're
to.
not going to want to go back.
I'm very excited about this. I really
And
am.
look at you walk in, there's 4 pines, you got a quilt, you don't know what to pick from binding, and you go to and you see there's almost 4 yards here
That's a pretty good
at
amount.
2.5. I
That's
can get
actually
5
pretty
if I go to 2 1/4. But
Really, out of a fat
that's
quarter.
out of a fat quarter.
I am very intrigued by this.
And the technique I'm going to show you, here's another. Let's say you need more, and you've got
I just need a bigger square.
yeah, exactly. This isn't a square, and it still works. But let's say you had a yard of fabric. Technique I'm going to show you.
Use all yard.
You sure can.
But that would give you like 12 yards
Well, I don't need
of
it.
binding.
I don't
That's
need
like
it.
a
I'm just
circus.
telling you.
That's like a
It's-
circus tarp.
I'm just telling
Like we
you.
gotta make a moo for the elephants. Let's get a yard worth of bias binding.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. It's on the bias, and see, it's beautiful.
Well, thank you all for joining us again for a wonderful time here at Four Pines Quilting with Shenanigans with Becky and Brent. I'm gonna give you headlining. You know, I don't know why it's been Brent and Becky because it's you that
It is Brent.
people tune in for you, not me.
No, they don't either.
But-
Now they're going to
oh,
tune
wait.
in for my binding, though.
Yes. Thank you for joining us again this week. Please join us again next week as we explore the in-depth making of the bias binding.
Bias binding with a fat
quarter.
quarter.
With a fat quarter.
BB with a fat quarter.
And
Fat quarter!
Woo, woo.
Remember, sew on and be excellent to each other.
Yay!